Thank you, Tade, for that wonderful introduction. It's so nice to see your face again since we've graduated. And thank you, Evan, for inviting me for this. You know, ever since I moved to San Francisco from Texas, I've heard about Quiet Lightning and Better Ancestors. So when a friend of mine invited me, you know, I couldn't say yes quick enough. But yeah, I'm super excited and honored to be here. I just have 7 poems to read. Hopefully it'll be under 10 minutes. But this is from something I've been working on for a while now. It's a chapbook. Probably it's going to be a book because it's too many to put in a chapbook. Titled Quasi-Metalloid, and it's kind of taking or borrowing the titles from constellations, and I kind of use that as a springboard, as a springboard for whatever content that inspires. All right. So this first poem is called Ascension. What a young girl needs are more records and compact discs, i.e., less modular streaming and more definition fronting her eyes. She needs to learn how to swim, to ride a bike in rainy weather, though she despises drowning in all forms, especially past undoings, failed retentions, and dirty laundry. This girl is a 20-something, working something, in search of variety, direction, and smart art. She has been mistaken for an actual rationality once at Cup of Joe, wearing a Victorian Gothic painting shirt cut at the midriff, a piece of outgoing mail between her ring finger and pinky. Her mother gave her meekness, her father residence. Each morning, this girl thinks of every possible way she could begin her day as her curtains scrape the sunlight coming in. Residual beams falling to the carpet, turning into micro-splendors for the dust to dance on. In an attempt to contrive incentive, she dreams of how worthy a person she is. In the background of her brain is a figure pathetic and unyielding, a figure attached to the same name she calls herself, but no body, but nobody. This next poem is called Salem, or The Chisel. I sculpt when I cut my arm off in a dream. The same goes for taking birth control, kissing my man, and eating fast food. I shape fashion, madness, my own ruts in the system. A journal of mine made light of this with a quote from my grandfather, a Burmese man whose Buddha cracked twice, once from the British, again from the Japanese. You cry like your fingernails are being torn off. Then I had never noticed how light his touch was, and how his lightness felt like fleets of wind, and the throbs they left, perhaps slight heartbeats, given through padded rings that have flipped through many prayer books. Who is he now, in those impersonal parts that made him? A towel hangs from my mirror, wet from an earlier shower. Yesterday's bang and nail trimmings sit placidly in a Walgreens bag. Saltwater crocodiles in a mangrove settle upon the half-century footprints of military marches. Though exigent, I wait until the receding of the universe's prefectures because the Buddha taught me everything depends on everything else. Then I will cut off what fouls my heart, repurpose, remodel it. It will be their recreation. Now I understand things, how they're all a cause. This next poem is called Cancer. My mom did her own saline drips during chemo, inserted the IV into herself in the living room while Eat Bulaga played on the TV. My 1-month-old niece had just passed, so my family stayed in one room for hours. Uproars of laughter, bright lights, loud muffles of the mic being too close. But I looked at my mother. I look at my mom. How she always seems to be in the middle of closing her eyes. How beneath everything she must feel it. Outside, the sun has begun to drop, so when she opens her eyes again, it's a different world she's in. 2 years passed, her hair has grown back, shoulder length, thin, her shirt's flatter on one side, eyebrows sparse. Now she spends her days playing mahjong on her iPad, sending my siblings and I the daily wordle, forgetting that something is on the stove until the verge of explosion. All I can think about, upstairs, downstairs, when I'm at home, is how ruin is both a verb and a noun. This one is called Reticulum, or net. They recently installed nets under the sides of the Golden Gate Bridge to reduce deaths, they say, patent pending, Although designed to cause immense pain, the nets are supposed to stand as a, quote, symbol of hope, according to someone's supervisor, and someone's supervisor's supervisor. Ask yourself, does a hope place beget hope, or is where hope itself congregates, sinking to the bottom of the mesh because it is denser than the worry around it? Gaze long enough into the net, and you become the net. Sieve the meaning of suicide, and eventually you'll get bits of will to chew on. Zero-sum lifespan, kamikaze wage workers renting happiness on a month-to-month lease. Record-breaking heat waves are Earth's voicemails to humanity's fossil fuel answering machine. This is not to say the past was any better. This is not to say the present is innocent, but that the 18% automatic gratuity paid for the price of life isn't even going to the worker. Strictly speaking, we all reserve the right to die, though even more so, we deserve the right to live without all the add-ins. We deserve to take flight instead. This next one is titled Auriga, or Charioteer. Dad drives me 2,000 miles to San Francisco, California. We listen to NPR news and stand-up comedy sets as the jagged, craggy outcrops of rock set the stage around us. I have a note on my phone of potential talking points. Daddy, can you name every country? Dad, what happened the day I was born? Can you remember what you almost named me? Why Texas? Why America? None of these ever make it past the LCD screen, though I know the answers to the last two have roots in the land of neocolonialism. I just don't want this to be wasteful, I think to myself, for all these hours, these days to be just that. I used to think my dad was a robot after coming home from work, that he was taking out wires instead of untying laces, the loosening of his necktie, a decompression process. I can't tell myself when this belief broke, but I can't seem to shake the possibility as Dad is on his 18th hour of driving. The motion of a cruising car, rock and sway, asleep in the back seat, how I miss opening my eyes once I felt the familiar bump of our driveway collapse into my body, my dad turning his head to me in a move that says time to surrender. This feels no different. I close my eyes and wait for the holding together. Right. This one is called Aries. The sheep across the street, in a recurring dream I've titled Have At, told me I must look into different ways to arrive at myself. So far, I have 1.5. 1, make more lists. Lists are great management. 1/2, love my nose. This one I'll probably never complete, hence the half. On my do more often checklist, there's something about asking the stars for more home, unbeaten, unalloyed, though the only thing I find permissible from them in this euchred and perverse asking is the notion that I'm just an object, a morsel of mortal, limitable, drastic. This is the last one. The title of this one is just 4 question marks, so I'm not sure how to verbalize that. Okay, here we go. Chained, tortured daughter, a waking fish, the legs of a walking boar, a noose of displeasure in the form of a neck-adhering collar. I am still a baby looking out at the world through the buckled back seat of Dad's company sedan. What are clouds made of is the translation of the image variance going on in my brain. Though I didn't know of this yet, the theory of condensed water vapor is always panting in the air. It's what now ropes me out of bed, compels me to hope off the train, love my way down the street, as I mouth to myself, the end of today is not tomorrow, while entering the human heart. Thank you.